Hey guys, good afternoon and welcome back to my channel. Before we start, I just want to say that I will be eating kind of my lunch as we do this little story time. So I want to do a story time on this topic that I'm about to tell you because you kind of need a backstory to get the full story. You know what I mean? So I had a doctor appointment yesterday for a new rheumatology doctor, and I will tell you why I even had to get a new rheumatologist. So back in 2017, I was seeing my rheumatologist that I had had since '09, since we first got stationed in this general area. There was never really an issue with this doctor. I only had to see him every few months for a checkup. This was a routine checkup in like December time, 2017. I went in. Somehow in this checkup, he's a quirky doctor, and I love that about him. He was very like relatable. He was goofy. He made it easy going. So I did like him. There was no hate or animosity, but I'll get to that. So in this routine visit, he was going over, like he always did, his notes in the last visits we would do, go over any labs that needed to be done. And excuse the noise in the background. Those are our guinea pigs because they can hear me talking and they think that I'm in here giving them some snacks. So anyway, we were going over a few things, and I don't know how this came about in his notes, but he noticed labs that had been done on me, and he asked if I knew about them, and I said, no, I don't know what you're talking about. What labs? I get labs done like crazy. He goes, you were tested for scleroderma, and it had come back positive. I was like, okay. Didn't know what scleroderma was, never heard of it. He said, yeah, apparently they had tested me back in 2013, and it was positive. No one had mentioned that I was even being tested about it. No one even told me that I had been tested and it was positive. Now, for those of you that don't know what scleroderma is, it's a connective tissue disease that affects every part of your body, and can be severe. I mean, just look up scleroderma. You will read a whole bunch on it. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, we don't know what it is, so we didn't know how serious it was. This is 2017, so that means I went from 2013 to then, no real treatment, nothing. He's like, now, he gave us a little rundown on what it was. He's like, we need to put you on something to protect your major organs because it can affect all of them and it can be really bad. And if that happens, you need transplant. I'm like, oh my God, okay, yeah. So I was put on lisinopril at the time, and then, we had left. Of course, me, as soon as we're in the car, I'm going to research what I can on this. It was very traumatic to read a lot of what it was. You got a lot of scary, research, but you need to know. And I didn't even know what type at the time that I had. He didn't tell me that. So, of course, me being worried, and I'm so glad I listened to my gut, I decided to call my pulmonologist and make a follow-up because I also wasn't being followed up with a pulmonologist since 2013, even though I had a lung disease known in 2011. The pulmonologist I had back then didn't treat it as a serious condition, and he didn't call it interstitial lung disease either. He called it restricted lung disease and said that, he put me on like Imuran at a time, then took me off. We tried prednisone, took me off. I was on that for years and then took me off. So I don't understand why the treatments always changed. If a doctor doesn't take a disease seriously, and, I was young, you want to trust that your doctors are knowing what they're doing. And I didn't really have major breathing issues back then. Yeah, I got out of breath at times, but I just knew to limit certain things, but that was pretty much it. So I made a call because I knew my breathing had been more of an issue lately, and I'm glad that I did. I went in, so my pulmonologist, who wasn't the same one, because this is Navy, military, so, you know, a lot of them leave and get transferred or retire out, so that's just how that goes. They get restationed, stuff like that. So the new one I get, which by the way, I love her, she tells me that, you know, going over my labs and going over previous imaging, she couldn't believe that nobody was following up with me. She's like, you have a serious lung disease. She's like, whoever was your pulmonologist really dropped the ball, because with them, they will call you and make your follow-up, because with where I'm at, you don't call and schedule appointments unless they tell you you need to. They're supposed to call you and make the follow-up. So I'm like, well, no one's ever done that. And, you know, when they're not taking it serious, how are you supposed to take it serious? So she reordered my lung function test. She reordered, you know, all the imaging that I need to do for my lungs, 6-minute walking, all that stuff that day. Did all of it. And then I waited after I did all of it in the room for her to come in. She comes in and she's like, okay. She's like, your lungs are severely worse. She's like, your lungs are functioning 22%. She's like, you have half of your lungs full of fibrosis, which is irreversible and cannot be fixed. She's like, you need to go to Mayo and you need to talk to the transplant team, because your end treatment will be a double lung transplant. She's like, I will be putting you on CellCept for the time being, which will hopefully keep you stable enough until they can do what they can for you. She's like, this should not have happened with you. It was lack of care. And she goes, this is not something that a doctor should have taken lightly. She goes, I know that doesn't help you now. She's like, but we're going to try and do the best that we can. She goes, the only good thing about you not getting any of these treatments is that we can still try these treatments on you to keep you stable enough, hopefully, until I need a transplant. So that was when I ended up going to Mayo last year. And that's when I found out that I didn't qualify for lungs because of two things. It was my weight and my GERDs. So I went to the gastro department at Mayo, and I was chosen by the team to have gastric bypass to fix both the issues. And I found out I had 2 hernias that I also had to get fixed, which ended up happening with that surgery. So that is where I'm at. I've had the surgery. My GERD is controlled. I've, been losing weight, nowhere near my goal weight yet, but I'm getting there. And then the next step is doing what I have to do for testing and all the other stuff for my lungs. And I'm terrified. All of this could have been prevented. Well, maybe not prevented really, because I was going to end up in this situation, but it could have been prolonged if I would have been on proper treatment from the get-go. So I would have had to not have worried about any of this until later on down the road. Who knows? Maybe I would be in this position. We don't know. But the fact that nothing was done, I know that I probably would have been better off with treatment. And I'm that type of person that when I do treatment, I respond pretty well to meds. I've never had a medication that had a reaction to me. I've never been severely sick. I haven't had major side effects, so at least I have that. But I am very nervous because the new medication I'm starting is a chemo drug, because the medication I was taking prior to my weight loss surgery, I can't take anymore because it doesn't respond well to my system. I have to take, I was taking CellCept, and you can't take capsules, and I was doing it liquid, and the liquid was not agreeing with me. So we are now on to once a month infusions, and it's going to be chemo, so I am very nervous because I've never had that. So yeah, this is pretty much where I'm at. I'm very stressed. Past couple of years have been stressful. I wear oxygen anytime I'm up walking around for long periods of time. Sometimes you guys see me wear oxygen even when I'm sitting. It just depends on the day. But my new rheumatologist, we went over all of that, and she is amazing. We talked about everything I just mentioned to you. We talked about current situations, about past things that's happened, all the medications I've tried. And what amazes me is that she already has a plan. She's, when you see a new doctor, you get worried that you're going to have to start over. Nope, not with her. I mean, yeah, she's got to order her own blood work, but she had all my blood work prior. And, we went over that because I was worried that there was more stuff that I didn't know about from him. And we went over all of it, and she's like, your scleroderma is very rampant in your body, as you know. She's like, it's not curable. We went over that. She's like, and I was always worried, do I really have lupus? Is it just scleroderma related? She's like, no, you have high markers for lupus. She goes, you have, because I have mixed connective tissue disease, I have many diseases that show up in my labs, and then I have symptoms of other diseases without testing positive for them, if that makes sense for you guys. So that sucks. I've known about that though for a while. So she started talking about my Raynaud's and asked if I've ever had treatment for that. And I'm like, no, I didn't even know there was treatment for it, even though I've suffered with Raynaud's for like over 15 years. So Raynaud's is a circulatory, I cannot say this word. I've tried many times. It's it affects your hands and toes, circulation issue. And don't come at me because I still sounded stupid saying that word. I can't get certain words out at times. I know how to say it, I just can't get it out. So anyway, it affects your circulation. Don't hate me. So you know what I'm trying to say. So meaning if I touch anything cold, my hands turn blue and purple and white, same with my toes. I could be in my bedroom, not even touching anything cold. I could be just a fan blowing on me and I get the reaction I do. I could walk in a grocery store and go by the freezer aisle or the fridge aisle and have that happen to me. It pops up at random times. And I also have the same reaction, but with heat, except my hands get red and white blotchy and swollen, and my feet, and they hurt, they swell up, and it's painful. I'm allergic to the sun because of my diseases and the medication I'm on, so I burn easier. So I have to take extra precautions when I'm out and about, which, even though I do, still get burnt, and it's painful. And then I get sick. It's like sun poisoning. You have heat stroke almost, and you're just really sick. You feel like you have the flu, and your skin's burning, and you can't cool down. Yeah, I've been there, and that's not even because I was in the sun directly. So that's a little bit of story time for you on how yesterday went. It was a really good visit. I really like this doctor, and she's a lot closer than my old one. And she has a plan. She's going to try and help with my skin, get me to a dermatologist that specializes in skin diseases like scleroderma, lupus, because she thinks that what I have here because of my lupus is kind of like rosacea. And I was telling her everything that I try to use never really helps. I try to get stuff that's for sensitive skin, and it just doesn't go so good. So anyway, that's all I have for you at this story time. I know it was a little crazy in areas with not being able to get out that word. Let me see if I can say it again. Circulation. Pretty good. Pretty good. I don't know. I have fibro brain fog, and sometimes my brain's just mush and I can't get it out. But I will flip this camera around so I can show you kind of what I'm doing today. Over here is our dinner cooking. Just have some sausage, Italian sausages, and some potatoes. And I have enough for some freezer meals as well. Oh, make sure that lid's on right. So that's been cooking for a couple hours now. Have it on low. It's gonna cook for 8.5 hours just to really get nice and juicy and cook those potatoes good. I didn't do anything to those potatoes, just plopped them in there. Same with the sausage. Nothing's added to them because after they're done, some of them are going to go in freezer bags for meals. So when the kids are home and we want a quick, easy dinner, I can just pull those out, warm them up, and we can season them the way that we want. Then over here, I'm going to, once we go to the grocery store to get more ingredients, I'm going to make banana bread. I have my bananas that were starting to brown that we weren't eating enough of in the freezer, so I will pull them out closer to when we go grocery shopping to get that. And then, of course, got lots of dishes, which takes several days for me and my husband to use, but it's not really that many because crock pot, few dishes, and pans that we cook with. And then there's little Rosie who wants my attention, don't ya? You want a snack, don't ya? Let's see if they know. You want a snack? Now the other two will come too because they heard the word snack. Yep. You guys want a snack? Every time I come in here, they know because I keep their snack bags right here. I swear to you, I feed them. Pixie's the good one. Pixie, you can sit? Good girl. Yep, and that's pretty much all I'm doing. Gotta go and take my laundry out now and put it in the dryer. So I will talk to you guys later. Hey guys, so I wanted to get on here and kind of give you a little weight loss update. Past few days I've been kind of stalled at 186, teetering right at 185. And that's normal when you're going through this journey. You will hit stalls. It can last several days to weeks. So the only thing to do when you have this weight loss surgery and you hit a stall, depending on where you're at, usually you will increase your calorie, and that's what you need to get it going again. The calories that I have been told to stay at until my next checkup was no more than 600 calories a day. And I'm hitting right at that, a little bit right at that, which is, been working fine in the past. I do think now it's time for me to increase the calories just a little bit, which I will try and do. I do find it very difficult to try and work that in because I have to eat a certain amount and I have to watch everything that goes into my body. Everything has to be very low sugars or no sugars at all. I should not go over 5 grams of sugar a day. So a lot of my meals are seasoned, but they don't have crazy amount of stuff on it. So, and then anything that goes on it has to be sugar-free, low-fat stuff. So it is very difficult. I find the easiest of getting my fluid intake during the day. That seems to be the easiest thing for me. And of course the calories, it's just watching those sugars. So I will let you guys know hopefully soon when my weight loss starts taking a dive back down. But yeah, it's kind of frustrating because I've hit a little stall. I'm not going to freak out about it because I have my 3-month checkup on the 19th. I will tell them about this little stall and they're probably just going to increase the calories. So I will let you guys know what happens. Talk to you guys later and thanks for watching. Bye.